The circulatory system consists of the heart, arteries, capillaries, and veins. This system is responsible for pumping blood through the entire body. This uninterrupted movement of blood is necessary to maintain the supply of oxygen from the lungs and nutrients from the digestive system. It also distributes hormones, chemicals, water, and heat, and aids in the delivery of waste for excretion. There is about 5 liters of blood contained in the blood vessels of an average adult. The circulation of blood through the body is complete in about 1 minute's worth of time. The blood recirculates 1,500 times a day. In 2nd century AD, the philosopher Galen believed that blood passed from the right side of the heart to the left through invisible pores in the muscular septum. This was a popular belief until 1628, when William Harvey presented convincing evidence that blood flowed in arteries, out of the heart, to the tissues, and then returned back along veins. He was also unsure of how the blood passed from the arteries to the veins, but he deduced that some kind of channel must exist. It wasn't until 30 years later, when Marcello Malpighi was the first to discover the microscopic capillaries which connect them. Now, let's follow a red blood cell as it travels through the circulation system. Starting at the right atrium, the blood is in need of oxygen. It enters the right atrium from the superior and inferior vena cavas. Then it passes through the tricuspid valve into the right ventricle, through the pulmonary valve, and into the pulmonary arteries. Here is where blood travels into the capillaries of the lungs and becomes oxygenated. The pulmonary veins are the only veins in the body containing oxygenated blood. From those veins, we enter the left atrium, taking way of the mitral valve and into the left ventricle. Once passing through the aortic valve and into the aorta, small arteries form into even smaller arterioles. Inside the capillaries, the oxygen is removed from the cells and sent away to different parts of the body for use. The resulting deoxygenated blood travels through small veins back to the superior and inferior vena cava, where it flows into the right atrium and begins circulation again. Let's take a look at a few systems that the oxygen from our blood cells were delivered to. Blood's delivered to muscles through a regulatory system. A contracting muscle will produce chemicals which allow arterioles to dilate and the flow of blood to increase depending on the level of activity. Now on to the heart. The flow of blood, which nourishes the heart muscle via the coronary arteries, takes about 5% of cardiac output both at rest and stress. The heart removes nearly all of the oxygen from the coronary blood even at rest. When heart work increases, the only way more oxygen can be supplied is for blood flow to increase. If blood flow is restricted via a blockage, the result would lead to tissue death. Skin. Blood flow to the skin is based on temperature regulation. If body temperature rises, skin vessels dilate to increase skin blood flow and thereby increase skin temperature and facilitate cooling. During extreme heat, flow may increase so severely that most of the cardiac output flows to the skin. During very cold conditions, blood flow to the entire skin is almost completely cut off. Circulation to the gastrointestinal tract is unusual in that the venous blood does not return directly to the heart. Instead, it flows into a portal vein to the liver. This blood, carrying products of digestion, passes through the liver before reaching the hepatic vein and the inferior vena cava, which drains back into our basic circulation. The kidneys are small organs, but they receive about 20% of cardiac output. Most of this blood flow is concerned with the filtration and formation of urine. Blood circulation to the brain is essential. A few minutes without the supply of oxygen and brain tissue will begin to die. About 15% of the cardiac output of blood supplies the brain. Blood flow in the brain remains relatively constant, although it can change in response to neural stimuli. Shining a light in your eye would result in increased blood flow to the area of your brain associated with vision. As you can see, the circulatory system is one of the most important systems in our body, having a hand in almost every function.